something just feels different this time. I mean, seriously, are the Bears turning a corner? Because if you're like most fans, waking up after that win over the Raiders probably felt like waking up in a new timeline. The Chicago Bears are on a 2-game win streak, and it's not just that they're winning, it's how they're winning. There's grit, there's resilience, and finally, there's a quarterback who doesn't shrink under pressure. Let's talk about Caleb. We've been waiting for this. A full, gritty, NFL-caliber game-winning drive when the team needed it most. And yeah, the first half was messy. Max Crosby was everywhere. The offense looked flat. The ground game couldn't get going. But in the second half, Caleb shifted gears. It wasn't about flashy numbers. It was about delivering when it mattered. He looked more poised, more decisive, and way more in control. That final drive? Man, that's where legends start writing their stories. For completions on 5 attempts, 42 yards through the air, and a couple of crucial scrambles for another 18 yards. The dude accounted for basically the entire drive. Ice in his veins. That's not something you can teach. That's something you either have or you don't. And Caleb? He's got it. Now, when your quarterback steps in the huddle and says, "This is the moment," you better believe the guys around him feel that. And clearly they did. Because this wasn't just about numbers on a stat sheet. This was about leadership, belief, and answering the call with the game on the line. And let's not brush past the defense. Josh Blackwell put the final stamp on that win. Sealed it. Closed the deal. Game over. That's what winning teams do. They find ways to finish. For the first time in what feels like forever, the Bears found a way to close a tight game on the road. We've seen too many times last season where the Bears were right there, right on the edge of victory, only for the bottom to fall out. The Detroit collapse on Thanksgiving. The chaos in the Green Bay game. The Hail Mary heartbreak. And in all those losses, Caleb had them in position to win. Now he's actually closing the deal. That's a big difference. So is this a culture shift? Is this one of those turning point games that gets talked about months from now? You know what? It might be. It's still early. But there's something about winning like this, on the road, against a team fighting for their season with your back against the wall. It builds belief. It builds chemistry. It tells your locker room, we can win even when it's ugly. Head coach Ben Johnson even said it himself. We're building something special here. And if you watched that game, you saw a team that didn't panic when things weren't going their way. You saw a quarterback who didn't flinch when he had to deliver. You saw guys fighting for every inch. That's what culture change looks like. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just finishing the drive when it matters. Sometimes it's that silent belief that you're never out of it. Caleb said after the game that these moments are what he was born for. That's not cockiness. That's confidence. And the best part? His teammates seemed to believe it too. You could feel it. You could see it in the body language on the sideline, in the energy in the huddle, and in the way they fought for every yard on that last drive. Let's keep it real, though. This one wasn't perfect. Far from it. The Bears had serious struggles on the ground, both sides of the ball. Offensively, the run game was basically non-existent. Defensively, they couldn't contain Ashton Gentry. That kid exploded. Long runs. Physical runs. He made the Bears pay over and over. And Raheem Mostert barely touched the ball and still ripped off big gains. Chicago gave up 240 rushing yards. 240. That's a problem. It's kind of wild they even won a game like that. You don't usually win when you're getting gashed like that on the ground. But they pulled it off because Caleb outplayed their quarterback. Period. And when it came time to be clutch, the Bears were clutch. That doesn't mean the run game problems go away. It just means the team found a way to overcome them, at least for one more week. Now let's get into the numbers a bit. The Bears averaged 2.7 yards per carry. The Raiders? 7.7. That's a massive gap. The difference between getting stuffed and ripping off chunk plays. You can't keep winning like that. Not sustainably. And Caleb's rushing yards are doing a lot of masking right now. The backs just aren't producing. If this keeps up, you gotta wonder if the Bears front office starts sniffing around before the deadline. A more dynamic running back might not be just a luxury. It might become a necessity. Because if the ground game continues to sputter, it puts too much pressure on Caleb to be everything every single week. And while he's showing he can handle it, the NFL grinds you down. You need balance. You need help. And right now, the backfield just isn't bringing it. But let's not get all doom and gloom. There were some real bright spots. That secondary? Man, they came to play. Tariq Stevenson has quietly been on a mission the last 2 weeks. His run support? Elite. His coverage? Tight. And that interception he pulled down? That was a highlight reel play. Full extension. Parallel to the ground. Hands like glue. That's not just athleticism. That's instinct and confidence. That's a guy who's starting to believe again. You can feel the swagger coming back with him. Early in the season, it looked like maybe the sophomore slump was hitting hard. Now, he looks locked in. Pickens last week. Myers this week. He's answering the call against solid receivers and holding his own. That's what you want to see from a young corner with high upside. And Kevin Byard? Huge bounce-back performance. Look, let's be honest. He looked a step slow earlier this year. But on Sunday, he looked like the Pro Bowl version of himself. 7 tackles. 2 picks. One of them was pure veteran savvy. Baited the throw, jumped the route, and took it away. And let's not forget that clutch stop on 3rd down late in the game. Even if the Raiders had made that long field goal, that stop gave the Bears a chance to respond. That's situational football at its finest. So yeah, there's still plenty to clean up. The run defense is a glaring issue. The run game is still not firing. But the secondary is starting to come alive. The quarterback is showing serious growth. And this team, they're showing they can win even when it's not pretty. That's not something we've been able to say about the Bears in a long, long time. You don't have to be the Ravens out there running for 200 yards a game. But right now, this offense is asking Caleb to do too much. He's been carrying it and somehow holding up. But imagine what he could do with a reliable run game. Imagine 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 10. Imagine a defense that has to think twice before sending pressure. And we've seen flashes. That last drive, Swift punched in a critical run. Monangai had a couple of solid gains. There's potential. There's some juice there, but it's just not consistent enough. If you're trying to make a run in the second half of the season, especially with how competitive the NFC is shaping up to be, you can't have this glaring weakness hanging around every week. The front office has to be honest with themselves about that. If the backs can't get it done, it might be time to make a move. But that's for the bye week. Right now, this team deserves to enjoy a hard-fought win, because those don't come easy in this league. The NFL is chaos every single week. One bounce, one penalty, one missed block, it can flip a whole game. So when you go on the road and beat a desperate Raiders team that's throwing everything at you, you take that win and run. You savor it. And it's not just the win. It's how guys stepped up in key moments. Tariq Stevenson making plays that remind you why the team was so high on him in the draft. Kevin Byard looking like a leader again. Caleb playing with composure beyond his years. That's what you build on. You know what else stands out? The emotion. These guys care. You can see it in their faces. You can hear it in their post-game interviews. They're not just out there collecting paychecks. They're fighting for each other. That's what makes a team dangerous down the stretch. Talent is great. Scheme matters. But when a locker room believes in itself, that's when special things can happen. And this locker room, it's starting to feel like it believes. That doesn't mean they're about to win 12 games and go on a Cinderella run, but it does mean they've got a shot to be in the mix late in the year. And for a fan base that's been starving for real hope, that's all you can ask for. So yeah, the Bears still have questions. Yeah, they've got flaws, but they've also got fight. They've got heart. And for the first time in a long time, they've got momentum heading into a bye week instead of questions and excuses. That's a sign of growth. That's a sign this thing might actually be heading in the right direction. And if Caleb keeps stacking moments like this, if the defense keeps rising up in the fourth quarter, if the coaching staff keeps learning from the past instead of repeating it, then who knows where this team could go. Maybe the win over the Raiders doesn't just move you to 2-2. Maybe it marks the moment this team stopped hoping and started believing. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, whispers of a canceled matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Chicago Bears have now been confirmed, according to league sources. The announcement, coming late yesterday, has left fans, analysts, and even players scrambling to make sense of the sudden disruption to the season schedule. While the official statement from the NFL cites operational considerations, insiders suggest there could be more beneath the surface, fueling speculation and a flood of social media chatter. The Raiders, known for their unpredictable performance and high-octane offense, were set to face a Bears team hungry for redemption after a roller coaster start to the season. Sources close to the teams hint that the cancellation may be linked to last-minute logistical issues, though other rumors point to behind-the-scenes conflicts that could involve player availability, venue complications, or even security concerns. The league has remained tight-lipped, only promising a rescheduled date as soon as feasible, but fans are already expressing frustration over ticketing, travel plans, and fantasy league strategies. The social media sphere exploded almost immediately after the announcement, with hashtags like #RaidersBears and #NFLChaos trending nationwide. Analysts and former players alike are weighing in, debating whether this disruption could impact playoff projections, team morale, or even trade strategies. Some speculate that this cancellation might create a ripple effect across the league, potentially affecting upcoming matchups and the delicate balance of the standings. Meanwhile, fan forums are buzzing with theories, ranging from internal team disputes to even more far-fetched conspiracies involving league politics. Merchandising companies and local businesses in both Las Vegas and Chicago are quietly concerned about the economic fallout, with hotel bookings, game day promotions, and local sponsorship deals all thrown into uncertainty. In short, the NFL's sudden move has become the talk of the town, and insiders caution that we may only be seeing the tip of the iceberg. For now, all eyes are on the league office as rumors swirl and speculation grows. One thing is certain. In a league defined by precision, strategy, and spectacle, the cancellation of Raiders versus Bears is an unprecedented shakeup that no one saw coming, and everyone is watching closely to see what happens next. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video. This isn't just about one win. This is about stacking moments. This is about building confidence in the locker room. It's about believing you can close games instead of hoping you don't blow them. And after what we've seen the past couple of seasons, that's a massive step forward. And look, while a lot of the spotlight rightfully goes to Caleb and the defense for sealing the deal, we need to talk about the bigger picture here. This Bears team is learning how to compete. And maybe even more important than that, they're learning how to believe again. That's not something you can measure on a stat sheet. That's something you feel when you watch this team refuse to fold. Because let's be honest, last year, that game ends in a loss. They would have let Gentry run all over them, settled for a field goal, or maybe not even gotten in a position at all. The defense would have bent too far, someone would have missed an assignment, and next thing you know, they'd be walking off the field looking lost again. But this year they held on. They made just enough plays to win. And in the NFL, that's the difference between 4 wins and 10. And as we zoom out a little, let's not pretend this was just a fluke. That Cowboys win, it wasn't just a random hot streak. That was dominance. This one against the Raiders, it was about survival. 2 totally different types of victories, but that's how good teams win. Not every Sunday is going to be pretty. Sometimes it's a street fight. Sometimes it's a chess match. The question is, can you win both kinds of games? Right now, the Bears are starting to show they can. And the biggest reason is that their leaders are growing up in front of our eyes. Caleb is evolving. He's not just the exciting rookie anymore. He's the guy teammates are looking to in the fourth quarter. That's a massive development for a young quarterback. And it's not just Caleb. It's the entire core starting to gel. The communication on defense is sharper. The situational football has improved. Even the coaching staff, yes, even Eberflus, is starting to push the right buttons at the right times. And let's not underestimate how rare that is. Because we've all seen Bears teams with talent that couldn't finish. We've seen defenses that could keep games close, but an offense that couldn't move the ball when it mattered. We've seen quarterbacks who could light up the stat sheet, but disappeared in the clutch. This version of the Bears? They're different. They're not perfect, far from it, but they're resilient. And that matters. Now, heading into the bye week, you start to think about what this team can be moving forward. At 2-2, it's a clean slate. You survived some growing pains. You weathered a few storms. And now you get a week to rest, reset, and get healthy. Maybe you get Kyler Gordon back. Maybe the offensive line finds a little more rhythm. Maybe the staff finally figures out how to get the run game going. Because let's be real, if this team figures out the ground game, it changes everything. Right now, defenses know they don't have to load the box. They can sit back and force Caleb to be perfect on every drive. And to his credit, he's been pretty close. But that's not how you want to live week after week. A consistent running game takes pressure off your quarterback. It opens up play action. It wears down defenses. And it gives you control.